Happy Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Today, I'm very excited to share with you a whole bunch of news. We're calling it a COVID surge that we are under in this first wave. And I'm going to share with you a whole bunch of literally localized cases that I know many of you are sitting in these towns and concerned. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about some international news and some information that will help keep you healthy and well during this pandemic. And also today we are going to talk a little bit about mental health and how to check your mental health as well as your loved ones to make sure they're feeling okay and everybody is mentally healthy, because that's a big part that the coronavirus it's really pushing many people to their mental health limits. And sometimes it's hard to get that perspective. So welcome to all of you. For all of you new and joining us here on the live, let me know where you are tuning in from. And I'm very, very excited and honored to have you join me. Today, I believe, is our 90th live show. I was counting my notes. I'm at the very end of my notebook. And this is, I think, 100 pages. So we are very close to the end of this notebook, but I will be continuing on with our live shows as much as I can. So welcome to all of you. If you are new, my name is Dr. Melissa Gallagher. I'm a naturopath who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. I started my business in the Tampa Bay area about, almost 15 years ago. And we moved to Georgia 3 years ago. And so I'm easily and quickly constantly monitoring St. Pete and Georgia, St. Pete, Tampa Bay area, Florida, and Georgia in this epidemic. And so we're going to talk a little bit about surge in Florida as well. So welcome all of you. Pat, I don't know if you got my email, but I was curious, is it okay if I can share with everybody the picture that you sent me yesterday? So I have that printed. If not, just let me know. So, but let's dig into our news. So in the world, we have over 8.5 million cases of coronavirus. In the US, we have 2.3 million cases. Brazil is at 1.1 million. Russia's at 599,000. India is at 441,000. And I want to highlight two Latin American countries that are on the increase as well. They have now taken and surpassed Spain in its total numbers. Peru is at 257,000 cases. Chile is at 246,000 cases. And we're going to be watching that. Now, here in the US, we are still in the first wave. We're not out of it. The virus hasn't gone anywhere. And in fact, the virus is on the surge, which means we haven't eradicated it. We're not okay. Our community still has the virus impacting multiple areas and populations. We'll dig into that. But I want to communicate right now, we have 122,132 fatalities just in the US. The US comprises 20% of the caseload of coronavirus. And of active, currently we have 1.5 million individuals that are currently actively infected with the virus. They're either managing this at home, they are either hospitalized or on ventilation. So this is significant. 1.5 million individuals is just not a drop in the bucket. And many of us know those individuals who might be impacted. Now, the thing that I want to also communicate is that this new surge in this first wave is considered to be like a wildfire. And there's more and more discussions in the world of the scientists, the clinicians, the doctors, and the epidemiologists that we might see a swell, like a continuation of this first wave. And we might see an uptick after Labor Day. So we're not there yet, but we might see a surge and it might just keep going. And that will affect how our fall season looks like for us with kids in school, our work situation. So I just want to communicate that we've got to have an expectation about what's happening in the world of coronavirus. And so, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but I always want to try and set the expectation with you all. This is not going away. when people are not social distancing, we're not implementing the right safety procedures, there's a lack of clarity from the regulations, and we're not seeing any type of federal involvement. There's not even in state involvement, involvement with changing regulations or requiring mandating masks and other things like that. We're now starting to see it at the localized level. But I want to communicate some of our states. New York's at 388,000 cases. California is at 178,000. New Jersey's at 169,000. We have Illinois at 138,000. Texas at 114,000. Texas is on a surge. Massachusetts is at 107. Florida is surging. Their Department of Health numbers, which don't include private testing, their numbers have reported now 100,000. So Florida is really, really up there. They have surpassed multiple states in the last week based on their surge. Pennsylvania is at 82,000. And then we've got a gap between Pennsylvania and Michigan. Michigan's at 67,000. Georgia's at 66,000. Virginia, 58,000. Arizona has had a significant surge. They're at 54,000, almost actually over 54 and a half thousand. So 54,586 as of this morning. Now also North Carolina has had a surge and they're at 53,605. We are also going to be watching the beaches in South Carolina. Myrtle Beach is a big destination. Lots of reports of people vacationing there, and South Carolina was having a surge. Now I want to communicate there are a multitude of states who've had in the last 2 weeks major increases, and the contact tracing, they're now articulating and tracking the increase and the exposure to Memorial Day weekend. So the socialization, the outbound activities of beach going and vacationing from Memorial Day is the current surge we're witnessing. 4 key states have had exponential growth. So let me dig into these. So in just 2 weeks, 14 days, Oregon has had the most increase, 234.4% increase. So their governor has gotten involved. They are seeing more mandates. Oklahoma has had 202% increase. Florida has had 155% increase. Arizona has 142% increase. And that's over 2 weeks, 14 days. Other southern and western states have seen mobility and tracking back to Memorial Day as the source of their spikes. Other states that have also tracked back Memorial Day as the source of the spikes are Texas, Utah, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And the thing to note, we're going to dig into this. So I posted this on my Instagram stories, and I also posted it to my YouTube stories. So there are so many places I have to post. Sometimes I forget, but I wanted to post this so you guys can screenshot this. You can share it. You can hit the little share to your own stories. But this breaks down. This is from Johns Hopkins. Okay, so Johns Hopkins is one of our prestigious medical centers. They do tons of research. They're up to date with all the data. And the number one, the city or kind of center, kind of metro center, leading the charge that has literally doubled their cases. 12 days, they've doubled their cases. Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale. So the Phoenix region in Arizona, they have a total of 24,000 cases, just that trio. My hometown, I hate reporting this. Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater. They have doubled their caseload in 13 days. They're at 7,600 cases, almost 77. Third up, Orlando, Florida. That includes Kissimmee, that's where our Disney World is, and some of the Disney properties. Sanford, Florida, as well is included. They've doubled their caseload in 2 weeks, and they're at 5,900 cases. And Disney hasn't officially opened. Disney has opening plans in July. Who knows how that's going to be impact or how that will impact, people coming in. Disney is so expensive. As a family, people save up for a while and then they go there for several days or a week, and they're going to, like the vacation plans, a lot of people might not be giving that up just from the cost. That's a big concern of mine. Okay, so fourth up, my Texans. I'm going to name a lot of Texas states or Texas cities here. Fourth up, San Antonio and New Braunfels. I hope I said that right, Texas. In 16 days, they've doubled their caseload. They're now at 5,600 cases just in those two cities. Austin, Round Rock is number 5. They have doubled their caseload in 16 days. They're at 7,400 cases. Charlotte, Concord, and Gastonia. So North Carolina, South Carolina, kind of triangle there. They have doubled their cases in 19 days, and they're at 1,200 cases. Then 7th is Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario, California. They've doubled their cases in 25 days. So we're going to start to see a little bit of a stretch. But, the biggest hit, as I recorded here, we have Arizona and Florida, some of those populations. I'll get to some of the antibodies in a minute, GAB8M. Let me just run through this so I can kind of highlight to everybody who's tuned in here. So Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario, they have almost 20,000 cases. Houston, the Woodlands, and Sugar Land, Texas, those 3 cities altogether, 26 days, you've doubled your caseload at 25,404 cases. Next up is Salt Lake City, Utah. We have a very large population in Utah, particularly Salt Lake City, of viewers and community followers. 28 days, you've doubled your caseload, 7,990, so 7,000, almost 8,000 cases. Next up, and this is all about doubling time. So it's not always about the total cases, but just the expediency, the speed of spread. So these are the areas that are obviously right now most contagious. 10, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Arlington, those 3 cities together. You've doubled your caseload in almost a month, 29 days. You guys are at 28,491 cases. Next up, Florida, the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach. That's a big segment. If you're familiar with Florida, the southeastern coast, that's a big population. They've doubled their caseload in about a month, 29 days. They're at 42,557 cases. Next up, and they've just started reopening, so this might also change. Las Vegas, Henderson, Paradise, Nevada. They've doubled in 29 days. They're at 9,318. Yakima, I think I'm saying that right, Washington. They have doubled their caseload in 31 days. They're at 5,600 cases. Memphis, I talked a little bit about Memphis yesterday. Memphis is going to be rolling back the reopening. So they're going to go from stage 1 to stage 2. They have doubled their caseload 33 days. Their load is 9,600 cases. Next up is LA, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Anaheim, California. They've doubled their caseload in 33 days. That area is LA County. They have the largest amount of cases in California in that particular county. Long Beach and Anaheim might populate a different county. I'm not totally clear on that, but they're at 86,457 cases. And then number 16 is the Omaha, Council Bluffs, Nebraska, and Iowa. They're at 7,657 cases. And then we've got Tennessee popping back up again. They're on the 17th spot. The trio of Nashville, Davidson, and Murfreesboro, and Franklin, so actually quad, they've doubled their caseload in 41 days, and they're at 14,000 cases. Richmond, Virginia. Richmond's getting a lot of grief about the monuments. Brian's whole family, they're all from Richmond. Had an interesting discussion with his dad on Sunday about Richmond. But it is at 18, and they've doubled their caseload in 45 days, 8,200 cases. And 19, Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas. So those 2 cities and 2 states, that little duo, they've doubled their caseload in 45 days, and they're at 5,500 cases. And the last one in the 20th spot, total, they've doubled their caseload. San Francisco, Oakland, and Hayward, California, they're at 13,000 cases. So that's Northern California. We saw everything above that a little lower. The southern part of California is getting really rocked. So this you can grab on my stories here on Instagram and YouTube. you can post this. This is up to date from Johns Hopkins today. I hope that helps you kind of understand. I've had a lot of people ask me, well, what about my city? So I wanted to give you a little bit of a more micro focused perspective so that you can be cognizant, you can be smart and make good decisions for you and your family about mask wearing, protecting your eyes, wearing glasses, goggles, eyewear when you're going out. You have to protect your eyes, friends. That is the missing link. I'm hoping we start to see more communication. I didn't print it out, but it is kind of funny. Some of Hollywood and celebrity are starting to get out and about. And one of my favorite DJs was, he posted on his Instagram, he literally had to have a root canal replaced. And apparently it was at like the pain level where he couldn't tolerate it anymore. So he rolls into his dentist office in a hazmat suit and a mask and goggles. And they show he had his assistant video him. But that is a concern of people. A lot of people are electing not to go in and do procedures, give blood, see physicians because they're concerned. And so, that is an extreme note, but he's also communicating the example he's leading to his community. And, it is critical that we really take heed and we stay vigilant. And if you are in any of these top 20 cities that I've listed off, I really want to encourage you to stay as close to home as you can, social distance, put off any vacations. And you know what? This is a short period of our time. It'll pass. And I posted hopefully some inspiration to you on my Instagram feed today. We will be okay. We just have to get through this. The sooner we can get through this, the sooner we can all get back to normal and get on with our lives. So speaking of getting on with our lives, we have a Bloomberg report about the jobs situation. So a third of the jobs lost, Bloomberg is predicting that they might not actually come back. I didn't even see anything specifically about the business, but I know a lot of fellow business owners are shuttering. They're not making it back. The PPP was not either issued or they just can't sustain the current state. So they're talking about the third of the jobs that won't be coming back. They're calling reallocation shock. It's just terms for people either outsourcing or those jobs won't be part of the return. And this is really striking for any of you who have college students in your families, or if you are, a new individual into the job force. 65%. There are 65% fewer entry-level positions than there were a year ago. And that is affecting our economy longer term. The other thing I want to highlight is that the public health workers, just national, across the board, people in their local health departments, even some of the nurses, health professionals, epidemiologists, people that are speaking out on TV, reporting numbers and things like that. Many of them are getting death threats. They're getting threats of violence against them and their family. People are protesting at their homes. Some have even had to hire personal security. And almost every Department of Health professional has highlighted, that's putting their name out there with reports and is forward facing, is actually getting death threats and threats of violence because they're communicating information people don't like, particularly wearing masks. And so I posted on my personal Facebook feed yesterday, some crazy images of people just being upset that, there's the plastic partition. And I had to make a quick run for Brian to Office Depot. He needed some sort of like calculating keyboard for his work. And, it's one of those split, you got to get it. Can't wait for Amazon tomorrow. So I went in and, I'm a frequent flyer at our Office Depot. My guys know me, but with my mask, they don't know who I am. It's very weird. But even there, like my guy who's always at the register, chit chat and have my little Office Depot coupon, he's complaining about the, little plexiglass thing. And like, I couldn't find the calculator thing. So one of the guys was like, how can I help you? And he's got his like mask hanging, off his one ear. And I'm like double loaded. Like, I got my glasses on. I've got my, N95, and then I've got my cloth, like double layer filtration mask. And I think he saw me and then he kind of pulled it back. And it's like, what the world? And then personal space. So that is, something we have to be cognizant of. People are not liking this idea of safety for others and not putting public health in front of their own needs. So that is something I think is really, really critical. But also today, I want to talk specifically about our mental health, because even if you are on board with, social distancing, staying at home, minimizing your socialization, minimally going out, just essential items, ordering online, it gets to us. It gets to our mental state. And I want to highlight this because I haven't spoken about this in a little while, probably maybe 6 months, and I have to owe you all an apology because I want to do routine mental health checks with you to make sure you're okay, to also give you resources in the event that you're sitting here and you feel isolated. The one thing I want to let you know, one of the core reasons why I go live, so we can build a community and you don't feel alone at home. We have our live chat. If you are watching on YouTube, first of all, give me a thumbs up and please like this video. But most importantly, check out the live chat. Pat and her husband Ron run this for us, and they have communicate with each other. You guys have become friends. And so it's something you all each look forward to. I know that because you comment and you thank me for it. And I love that. I read the live chats after. I don't always get to read them. And then also on Instagram, you guys have commentary and you guys see each other. And sometimes you go back and forth from YouTube to Instagram. And so that's one of the things this is meant to help you. For any of you watching on the replay, it might not necessarily feel like you're part of the community, but this is the core focus of our live show, is to build community for all of us isolated, to give you a purpose in the morning. We wake up, we grab our tea, our coffee, you grab your smoothie, and we have a chit chat, news focused, scientifically based, and community every day. So with that, we're isolated, things are different, we're feeling frustrated. I'm feeling very frustrated this week. This is the week, like Thursday, I would be currently packing for my Foldy college trip of the summer. And I would be packing to be in a van life experience, going and getting extra credentialing and learning more about the lymphatics from the premier and only university-based college hospital that focuses on all types of lymphatic disorders and diseases. But that's tabled because Germany is locked down. Nobody's traveling. And even the city, I've been reading, the city north of where I would be, because I'd be in the foothills, the Black Forest, the foothills, the beginning of the Black Forest in like the southwestern corner of Germany. They have had a riot recently, not a riot. They actually had a shooting. It's horrible. And they have a surge of coronavirus cases. So, life has been altered for us as for each of you, and we'll get through it. But most importantly, we need to have a mental health check. So I want to go through a 5-part assessment with you. And then I also have my depressed quiz. I'm just going to run through these. I'll post also some links to this. I have to actually articulate it in a download, but it'll be free for all of you. So here's the mental health checklist. Basically, we break it down into 5 letters, STEAM. So it's STEAM. So we're going to check 1, your sensations. So have a physical check-in. How are you feeling? Physically, are you feeling all your senses? Are you tuned in to, touch? And are you receiving stimulus to your senses? Smell, touch, taste, all of the senses we want to invigorate on a daily basis. And I know that sounds kind of like, okay, whatever. But the reality is when we are isolated, we don't get always the physical touch. We might not be walking outside. And so, if you have a patio, be out in the sun, dig in dirt, plant a garden, even porch and patio, even in the kitchen, but just connect with the earth. Also, if you have animals, love on your animals more. If you're living with something, make sure you're more physically connected. Just really tuning into the senses. The other thing too is, senses are great when it comes to food. You can add in a lot of really healthy spices, ginger, garlic, curcumin. You can add in everything, cayenne pepper, really invigorate that sense. And taste can be an offset to some of the other senses that you're missing out on. So, and also, hearing, sight. So, just make sure you're cognizant of what you're seeing, reading digitally. Also audio, you can play relaxing music, spa related music. The good news is there's a lot of free stuff. Like I love using YouTube. There's some sleep relaxation videos. There's some meditation videos that you can just play audio and listen. You don't even have to look at, and you can do meditation. So there's some ways to tune in there. So that's the S. T is thoughts. Let's check in with your thoughts. Throughout the day, what's the average of positive thoughts versus neutral versus negative thoughts? If your thoughts tend to be a little bit more negative, and sometimes this helps by journaling or just being tuned into your self-talk, and that can be negative towards yourself, towards others, and that can then also spill out into the E, emotions. So how are your thoughts affecting your emotions? Also, are you lashing out at people? Do you find yourself more angsty? That tends to be my kind of point. Like I get angsty and a little bit more verbal, and my voice gets a little higher. So, just be really cognizant and tuned into that. The other thing and this is particularly emotions, like if you're feeling negative emotions, it helps to assess where that might be coming in from. Some folks are having what we call digital burnout. And I actually wrote a whole bunch about this yesterday. The digital burnout is something, now we're all online, and how overwhelming is this for your mental state? And are you able to disconnect? And I appreciate all you tune in on the daily to my shows. And maybe I'm the only, digital kind of connection. But most of the time, we don't have reports on our cell phones. Mine tells me how many hours I've been online, virtual, whatever, on a daily basis. And sometimes you just have to get out and get in nature, go for a walk, disconnect, and have a different balance routine. Sometimes it might be taking a bath. It might be, video chatting or talking to a friend. But the actions, want to kind of notate if you're withdrawing from activities or you're finding that you are less engaging in your isolated world or isolating yourself more. That's something just to be cognizant of, that's indicative of some changes in your mental health state. The other thing too is this was notated as the trauma a lot of us are experiencing from this pandemic. And this is something we need to be clear about. This is traumatizing for all of us. However it's affecting you. If you have an underlying health condition, you are scared. You're scared. You're scared for your life. You're scared for your family members who might have an autoimmunity or an underlying health condition. And because it's a novel virus, we don't know a whole lot. So we're getting more and more data, but it's scary. And that causes us fear. It causes us anxiety. It's triggering our fight or flight hormone. And one of the things that's highlighted in that trigger and the trauma is the imagining of worst case scenarios. Trying to do that, it becomes really critical that we take a step back. And this is where I want to highlight that there are virtual therapy resources. One of my friends who has worked in my facility back in St. Pete, she is a mental health counselor, and she is pulling about 50 hours a week working with people virtually, helping them go through this, go through the shock, the trauma of it, go through how do we help, your loved ones? How do we deal with the emotional stuff? How do we deal with the economic crisis? And so it's all piled on. And then we have racial inequalities that are part of this. And I have a large population of people of color, and I have a large international community. And many of you living here in the US or in Canada might not be tuned into that as far as my population. But I'm very cognizant, especially here in Atlanta, that we have, and this is just globally, but the US, we're seeing more individuals of color, Black and brown, Latino, even Native Americans, who are being impacted by this virus in ways that is very scary for them. And it is causing a racial divide. It's highlighting the inequalities we're seeing in healthcare, the access to healthcare, and that is something that's causing stress. In fact, there's some really good clinical data, and I'll post this. I didn't get a chance to, but I did a screen grab. I'll post it to my Instagram stories. There is a direct correlation between the stress of racial inequality and racism on our population, our friends and family members, and you all are my family, you are my friends, and you guys are part of our community. And so you are part of the NHR family. It's affecting you all who are dealing with racism on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. It's affecting your blood pressure. And we know that hypertension is a big undercurrent for a lot of the health challenges, and we have to discuss that. I'm sorry, friends, if you don't like that, if any of you feel like, oh, I don't have to apologize for my whiteness or whatever, and I get comments about that, it's best you tune out, because every day, as much as I can, I will highlight research that supports our population of color. And so I have to communicate that, because that causes mental health imbalances. It causes stress. It triggers your fight or flight syndrome. And even witnessing it for my friends, for my population of color, I'm stressed out for you. And I feel like we all as a community are taking an assessment of how can we help individuals. I mean, look at what happened in NASCAR, and there's so many other scenarios. I posted a story about the Kroger Karen. Literally, a Black mom was out shopping with her. I think she had 2 or 3 kids. She was out shopping with them. Her son was reaching for Gatorade. So if Gabriel's helping me shop, sometimes you kind of help them, you boost them up. Maybe they get on the shelf and they pull a Gatorade down. Okay, so her son did that. Apparently it irritated a white mother who had her daughter in a stroller. And literally this mother, the white mother, followed around and was saying nasty things to the mother and the son, the Black mom and her son, and then followed her out of the store and blocked her from leaving the store. I mean, that is our reality. That's stressful. Do you not think that that has any impact on her health, her mental state, as well as her kids' health? That is significant. And we need to address that as a healthcare community, because that's a big underlying current for why COVID is impacting our communities of color in disparaging ways. And so it is something I'm not going to refrain from discussing. So take it or leave it. If you like it, oh well. If you don't like it, oh well. If you do, it becomes important that we use our voices. So feel free to share. I'll do the screen grab, and feel free, and please do post to your Facebook community, screen grab. It's important that we educate, because folks who aren't tuned into healthcare are not totally aware. And so education and awareness is critical. Okay, so now the M, so I've got S for sensations, T for thoughts, E for emotions, A for actions. Are you inactive? Are you taking any positive actions? Are you having any negative actions against yourself? So are you harming yourself? Are you maybe drinking a little bit more? Are you eating less healthy? What actions are you taking that are healthy? So evaluate your actions. Are they healthy actions? Are they neutral, or are they unhealthy? And that gives you an idea of where you are in your mental state. Actions also include taking care of yourself. Are you going to bed early? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you hydrating? Are you drinking enough water? And then other actions too. Are you mobilizing your body? Even when we're inside, there's a lot that we can do to exercise. Lots of great free videos, really critical. Now, M for the STEAM of our mental health check is the mentalize. How is your mental state? Are you mentalizing or incorporating? Are you, let's see, how do I say this? Are you absorbing all of this energy? Like, do you feel like you're carrying it on? This is for the empaths of our world. I'm one of you. We tend to absorb a lot of energy. How are you handling that? And are you actively putting up some boundaries? So maybe the digital access is too much. Maybe you're tuning into too much news. You need to cut it off. And so being really proactive about that. Now, I also want to highlight a little bit more. I'm just going to ask some questions. So this is what we call the Am I Depressed quiz. So these are questions and things I would ask anybody who comes into my practice that we want to tune in and find out, how are you doing mentally? So I'll just run through these. Just make a mental list. If you've got a notepad, maybe grab a pen and pencil. I promise I will make this available. I just have to do some additional editing to it. But this is really common. You're going to see this from a lot of counselors and mental health professionals. So it's entitled the Am I Depressed quiz. Okay, so number 1, have you lost enjoyment in established activities? 2, do you feel restless, fatigue, or a lack of motivation at work? 3, have you had an increase in irritability or impatience? I have to say yes to that. 4, a sense of being wound up or weighed down. 5, a sense of being overburdened with life and its activities. 6, a lack of spiritual peace or well-being. 7, relief fueled by controlling aspects of your personal behavior. So I'll just keep running down. A fear of expressing strong emotions, constant anxiety, or vague fear about the future. Do you feel a sense of being unappreciated by others? Do you feel feelings of martyrdom? Are you noticing a pattern of impulsive thinking or rash judgments? Have you noticed sexual difficulties or a loss of interest in sexual activities? Enjoyment. Keisha Hardwick, $20 super chat. Thank you. She says, Dr. Melissa, thanks so much for highlighting the struggle and fears within the Black community and those of color concerning the coronavirus. You have no idea how much this means to us. I truly sense your loving energy. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. I'm an ally for sure. Okay. So, all right. So thank you. That means a lot. Enjoyment in seeing others' discomfort. That's terrible. Sorry. Anger at God for how you feel. A recurrent pattern of headaches, muscle aches, and body pains. This is really critical for all of you with any autoimmunity. Are you noticing a heightened degree of those symptoms? More pain, more swelling, maybe flares. Social isolation and distance from your family or friends. Now that is our current state, but some people are more isolated than normal. A sense of being trapped by the day's activities, a pattern of pessimistic or critical comments and or behaviors, the belief that your best days are behind you, a sense of being left out of life, a binge on high-calorie foods to feel better. Upon waking, you feel an apathy about how the day will turn out. So just kind of a malaise, negativity. A preference just to do things yourself, recurring gastrointestinal difficulties. So if you notice an IBS flare or more constipation, gassy like state, a sense of being trapped inside your body, a dread of family get-togethers or social gatherings, that actually might occur because of coronavirus, like the sense of angst there. The self-perception of being overweight, unattractive, or unlovable, a sense of being old, discarded, and without value, no motivation to try new activities, a significant change in appetite, recurring disturbances in sleep patterns, increased agitation or inability to relax, fatigue, lethargy, or loss of energy, sadness, despondency, despair, and loneliness. Those are going to be the key feelings we're highlighting. Inability to concentrate, focus, or make decisions, recurring thoughts of death or suicide, and last, plans for suicide or an attempt for suicide. Obviously, those last two are critical that we seek help, but I want to highlight there are a lot of virtual therapy, virtual counseling options for any of you who've checked yes, and when this becomes downloadable, I'll post to you all. You can grab it and review the checklist. But this is really critical that we do a mental health assessment and we kind of assess how we're doing. And there are so many different options to improve just your mentality, improve your thinking. It's just little incremental aspects, and something that you'll find when we download this and this becomes available, we can flip the switch. So there's some options that you can do that will turn those things around. Sometimes perspective, gratitude, and even an appreciation of the opportunities. This is an opportunity for us to maybe invest more in our learning, maybe try out something new, maybe try out some new recipes, and just little things also to reconnect with maybe friends and family members we haven't seen in a while. So I do want to make a note that a lot of insurance companies now have granted access for more virtual therapy resources. If you have a company that you work for and their HR department, the benefits department, check out your benefits. A lot of times companies will also have free access to mental health. Take advantage of that. Even if you feel like you've checked yes to a few of these, it's not a bad idea to check in and talk to somebody. Sometimes just talking to a third party allows you to just express everything and you get a perspective. And also, you're releasing that. One of the things that we do know is the emotions, what we're thinking and how we're feeling, there becomes this manifestation and translation to the body, the state of the body, the state of our health, the state of our fight or flight system, our adrenal system. So we see our adrenal glands and all the other endocrine glands get engaged. We also see engagement with depression or changes in the neurotransmitters. We start to see hormonal imbalances. We'll see blood pressures increase. We see all these particular health changes and health, I don't want to say crises, but conditions, symptoms of these feelings. They can start to trigger some of the potential risk factors for coronavirus. So this is really critical. I wanted to discuss this today because I think, the surge that we are in is really, it's like we're starting this over again. We're just at a heightened level and we're on the increase. So it's almost like we're set back to where we were in March. And, that idea is just, oh my gosh, how are we not getting through this? Why are we not seeing decreases? And because we're also not seeing really stringent guidelines, solid kind of regulations coming down from companies and states and even the government, there's just this kind of mishmash of stuff going on. And that leaves people feeling lack of guidance, lack of structure for a lot of people can be really challenging. So I want to put this out there for any of you. Feel free, if you're watching on the live, you can watch this again, go through each of these. You can kind of hit pause and play each one. And I'll type these up. We'll get these out this week for you for a free download so you can have your own checklist. But it becomes really critical that we have this assessment. And also, and Birdhouse Barbie says mental health is self-care. Just like when you're on a plane, they say, if we're in, state of an emergency, you have to put your mask on first before any of us who are caregivers, who take care of other people. This could be your jobs, your colleagues, your friends, your family, boyfriends, husbands, wives, children, parents. We need to put the mask on ourselves. That becomes really critical. It's not selfish. It is self-care and it's loving towards yourself and your family members. So we have to really put ourselves first and our mental health first. So that is absolutely critical. Lori P says, just joined, missed a lot. It's all good. You'll watch it again. Mental health, grounding, meditation, yoga, and exercise. Live in the moment. As an empath, can't watch news. Only you. Going out is a chore in many ways. I totally feel you. Okay, so I'm going to go to some comments here. And again, I want to thank Keisha. That was seriously the best comment I've received. Thank you so much. Christine, my family of color moved across the country. The drive was scary and dangerous. I learned so much from their experience. Oh, I hate that for you and them. Hopefully they're feeling better. Okay, let's see. Jenny from the block, I'm an empath. Yes, our empaths feel. We feel a lot. We can absorb feelings. We can feel how a lot of you are feeling, feel the world and the weight of what's going on. I'm not wearing it today. I'm wearing my leather bracelet, but onyx is a really good stone for the empaths to just kind of give you energetic protection. Natural stones have a lot of healing properties. I mean, look at the power of quartz can control and regulate a watch. That's powerful. And so there's a lot of power. Look at Peru and Machu Picchu. That's based in under that is formed crystals. There's a lot of energy and healing in that. So quartz, not quartz, but black onyx is critical, especially now during this time. Cupcake Paper says, oh, was tested on Friday for corona. Still no results yet. I've been coughing, feel better, but no fever. Okay, keep us updated. Oh gosh, Christina, it was during the heights of the protests. Okay, let's see. Pat's dealing with her laptop. Oh, speaking of Pat, so I have to share with you guys. Pat, we love Pat. Pat sent me this yesterday. How cool is this? So I don't know how long ago it was, but she took a drive or a flight in this really cool plane. And she said the guy went upside down. Is that cool? Oh, look at Pat. Go, Pat. So the only thing I've done to conquer my fear of heights was to go skydiving. and it's on VHS video because that was way back in like early 2000s. It scared me half to death. I won't ever do it again. Quite exhilarating. I think I burnt out my adrenals. That was before I really learned about my adrenal health. That's not the best idea for somebody like me, but pretty exciting. How cute is that? So that's our Pat, our moderator on YouTube. So fun, super cute. So, and I love Pat when she sends me all these cute pictures of her and her kitties. Okay, so I will make sure I post all of those, this depression quiz. The other thing I want to highlight, in case you're new tuning in, didn't watch yesterday, we have our Hello Health sale in my Fullscript store. It's 25% off everything. So all supplements, all minerals, everything the majority of things that I talk about, like the multi-minerals, the zinc, the trace ionic minerals, and the adrenal drops and the lymph stem, those homeopathic motivators, multivitamins, a lot of the things, even the Buddha tea. That you can't get the 3-letter botanical tea. I have to sell that privately because their manufacturer or their processing company won't let them do that. But you can buy all the other Buddha teas, 25% off everything. So you can click on the link down below. It's good through the end of today. So get in, get your orders, stock up on the items that you usually purchase. And 25% off is a big deal. So I'm very excited. This is like a semi-annual sale and perfect timing for a lot of us who are running low. Lori says just spent $200. Oh, that's good. 25% savings on that is awesome. So definitely do check that out. You can grab the Bach flower spray. And speaking of emotional, the Bach spray is great for dealing with a lot of emotions. So this is another one that is in the store. And the pastels, this is usually Gabriel. He might hear this. He might come in now. I hear a little voice, but he loves these little suck-ons. These are really great. KK Critch, is the lymph stem good for lymphedema? Yes. Lymph stem is great for any edema, lymphedema, lipedema, lipolymphedema, and anybody who's dealing with lymphatic imbalances or poor lymph flow. So if you don't sweat really well, you've had surgery, you kind of notice swelling, fluid retention, maybe you've had liposuction, or removal of a gland or organ, or missing a lymph node, or notice that you have swollen lymph nodes, sinus congestion. Lymph stem is motivative for all of that. And all of my lymphatic patients are on lymph stem. It's great. Yeah, the spray is awesome. I love it. Literally, it just sprays. I put it on my tongue and let it kind of dissolve. The suck-on usually lasts like 10 to 15 minutes. You just kind of suck on it. So, okay. Let's see. Yeah, so definitely do check out the Hello sale. They actually had, and I was monitoring this last night. I had a few emails saying, oh, I didn't get your 25% off. It's automatic and it'll occur. It should occur when you check out it, like as you're putting stuff in your order, your cart. But if it doesn't, it'll articulate it at the very end. But just know it's auto 25% off just through the end of today. And then if you go back to the store tomorrow, the sale is off. So definitely if you think like, oh my gosh, I need some magnesium, I need magnesium powder or glycinate, or running low on some of your adrenal, your herbals. I mean, literally Herb Farm, we carry Herb Farm. We carry a lot of really good brands, hundreds of brands. And I also have added, in light of everything that's going on, I wanted to assess, okay, how can I support our company, our Black-owned supplement brands? And Fullscript, it took them, I think I'm the only one that asked. I know that sounds crazy. I'm not touting myself, but I was like, hey, can you tell me, I want to promote some of the different brands, and just even from my own my own consciousness, to be aware of what brands are owned by either a mother son, or a husband-wife duo, but that are Black-owned companies. And it took them like a week to get back to me. And then they said there are only 2. And I said, okay, well, what about a people of color list? And so I've got more folks adding to that. But that conversation triggered the buyers at Fullscript to have to be aware. And I'm now helping them get in touch with other potential brands to bring on board. So that's exciting. But most importantly, you can search. So there are some really, really good brands. One I've been using, gosh, since the beginning, like of my own illness. And I use their, it's Vibrant Health. I use their powders and have been using them forever. REM sleep is actually not in Fullscript. So REM sleep it's this baby. This is out of a different company. So not all of our supplements are going to be housed in Fullscript. Fullscript is like my clearinghouse of high quality professional grade products. You have to have licensure and credentialing as a clinician to have these stores. Most of the time, they'd be stocked on shelves because a lot of my work is virtual and I work with folks all over the world. One, you have to be in the US to buy from Fullscript. And that you can be in Puerto Rico, you can be in Hawaii and Alaska, and some of the other provinces, if you will, but it has to be US oriented. So my Canadian friends, sometimes I will ship like lymph stem. I might ship to some of my Canadian patients or customers or viewers. But like REM sleep is a totally different brand, and they're not on Fullscript. So not everything's on Fullscript. I had some questions about FSOI right now. I know everybody's hating on Amazon. And right now FSOI is only available on Amazon, but I'm hoping to change that for all of you. So it takes a lot of time, some bureaucratic paperwork and a whole bunch of stuff and approvals and QC and all that. But that is really good. Fullscript does a very high quality kind of measurement of the brands that they bring on and represent. So do check that out. You won't find any of my three-letter botanicals, the herbal botanical. They won't sell that because credit card processing. So that's why we sell this in the clinic. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. For a magnesium deficiency, which magnesium do you recommend? There were so many in Fullscript. So I would try out, I like Douglas Labs and Pure Encapsulations. Check out the magnesium glycinate. That's my favorite version. But some folks like the magnesium citrate because they want to get their bowels moving. So it all kind of depends on what your preference is. Christine says, I bought 5 glandulars from you. Should I take one of each per week? So I'm curious which of them and what they're addressing. Some of my glandulars, like I take one in the morning and one in the evening, and they're for different things, or some overlapping. Some might have less of the glandular. It kind of depends on what you purchase. So you can, you can message me separately if you want. We could talk about that. Christine, I hadn't seen him since, I don't know what you do. Okay. I have an older son too in Memphis and a daughter in Boston. Oh, and I know Christine was on that plane. Let's see, kitties. Okay, so you guys are so great. I love the community that is on our live chat. So amazing. Okay, so if you guys want REM sleep, because now Instagram, I can do the swipe up. I'll do a quick photo and swipe up, and you can just grab REM sleep straight out from there. I'm going to start to build also a storyboard. It's one of these things where like I can then house all of my little short stories, and you guys can check out like my favorite products. So we have a lot of work to do on that. It's just new, literally since we hit 10,000 permanently. We went up, then we went down, then we went up, and we went down. I will say we lost a lot of followers from some of my posts about racial inequality in healthcare. So I was a little incensed about it. And Brian, was like, Melissa, you don't want those people following. And I totally understand. It's just very frustrating that people would be that like, just unsubscribe, but I get it. We're in a very polarized world. But I won't stop talking about this because I am in the healthcare world. This is my representation and my onus as a professional. So I will keep representing and being an ally for the racial inequalities that exist in healthcare, and hopefully be a part of making those minor changes. So, it just happens. Sometimes we can make changes at a micro level, even though it may not seem like it, but we each have that capacity. Sinspa, are your clinic products shipped to the UK? No, they're not. So there's no international shipping. I have some folks that have US shipping addresses, like my Canadians that are on the border. They will have like literally a mailbox, a post office box right on the border. So they'll use their US address, but it tends, you have to ship international. They don't do that. But they do ship. Like I was watching last night, we shipped out, I think, 25 orders from like 8 to 10 p.m. because we have a warehouse on the East Coast and we have a warehouse on the West Coast. And so depending on timing of orders and depending on the different brands that are being purchased, it might get shipped. So sometimes people might get like a partial order from Arizona and another might get a partial from New Jersey. Just kind of depends. But, we're on it, 2-day shipping. If you buy, I think it's $49 is the threshold, you get free shipping. Big win. That's like Prime. 2 days, like literally, I'll place an order on a Monday morning, and by Wednesday, 10 a.m., I've got my stuff at our door. And I'm constantly trying to keep our stock levels high. Okay, so you're welcome for answering your question. May please talk about rebounding. So I have lots of rebounding videos. This is really focused at coronavirus, and the topic at hand was mental health. But definitely do check out the playlist on YouTube. Lots of great resources there. And this is our 90th video. I'll confirm that. I'll make sure everything's up to date on the playlist. But yes, so let's see. People are too sensitive. You're right. I'm sensitive too. I take personal offense to all of that. We had something happen over the weekend where I trigger people wearing a white coat. Like there's in my imaging. So a lot of times if I speak, that'll be the kind of image we put out that actually was taken behind me when I used to have my setup in here. And the white coat triggered people. Like people got mad and then they started questioning my credentialing and my background and getting angry. And I was like, holy cow. Wow. So the white coat trigger was a new one. Okay. So lots of great topics. Specific, if you have questions about thyroid, I have a thyroid playlist. Questions about female hormones, I have that list. For men, prostate, male hormones, I have that. Kids, lymphatics, I have over 50 videos on lymphatics, immune boosting, gut, digestion. So YouTube is the catalog. That is my clearinghouse of free video content, lots of resources. Most of the time I'm answering your questions. So do check out the playlist. And Sinspa, I'm forwarding your videos to my friends. Yay, I appreciate it. Thank you. And I really do appreciate the forwards, the shares, the tagging me on Instagram. We've been kind of in a stagnancy with some of the algorithms. And I really do appreciate your help. But your support and daily, you guys joining me, the support through supporting me through FullScript is huge. I really appreciate that. That is great. And also the super chats, like Keisha, I'm so grateful for that. And your message really was so heartwarming. I really appreciate that. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you. I have full gratitude for each of you. I'm honored every day to come and chat with you. You guys are receptive to the information. Pat's our like blocker in terms of some of the spam and craziness. And I usually now miss it, but she'll message me like, I can't believe somebody said X, Y, and Z. So we have trollers on occasion and it happens. So but definitely, I appreciate your time. And so tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be another show. I'm hoping there's more clinical news, but I appreciate you. So definitely take your time. Check out the FullScript link down below. Instagram on the IGTV, it'll be down below. 25% off, just 2 days. So Monday and Tuesday, today's the last day. Get in, get your items. Even if they're on back order, because I did see some start to get on back order. Order them and you'll still get the pricing. So I really appreciate each of you. I hope you guys have a great day and tune in tomorrow. Bye, everybody. See you later. Thank you again, Pat. And how cute is she? In the little yellow plane. I love it. I love the sense of adventure. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day and stay well and stay tuned. I'll get that quiz and the details out for today sometime this week. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you later. Bye. Thanks, YouTube. I'm so grateful for you. And thanks again for the super chat. I am grateful. So thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.